Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we are looking at the NECA AVP Ancient Warrior Predator figure. This is one of, almost my very favorite, but one of my favorite Predators from this line. It's a fairly recent one, and it does reuse a lot of parts, but it is one of the best overall composed figures. It has some really cool accessories and some really nice aesthetic features, which I just love. I love it. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand so that we can take a closer look. This guy stands just about 22.5 centimeters to the very top of his head, which makes him just about 8¾ inches. Definitely has some size to him, and he's got a really nice look. And the reason I like this guy so much, I think, is because he has more of a bluish hue to his armor. If you'll remember, the Temple Guard had kind of a bronzish armor. This one looks kind of unique in that it has that. It has a very nice looking faceplate also. It's one of my more favored designs, slightly more classic looking, so I like that a whole bunch. And it like I said, the core body is mostly the same as the other one, so there's not a whole lot to say about that, other than it is still exceptionally well sculpted and well detailed. We do have all of the nice details throughout all the armor. These guys, which I think these guys are just the collapsed shurikens, right? Is that what that is? So we have that one there and another one back there. Just the hanging down bits and things, and it's just very, very nice all around. So I love these guys, and we'll get into the detail more as we go. But first, let's talk accessories. If you want to count them as accessories, we do have the two claw things that come out of his arm gauntlet thing, and they're interchangeable with the other figures from the series. We have the backpack, which is technically an accessory, and it has the slide on it and the multiple hinges for the blaster so that you can pose that around nicely. So those are technically accessories, even though they're going to be mostly fixed to the figure, I would assume, for most people. And then we do have the little saber knife dagger thingy that can sheath into his calf. We have the open shuriken. We have the extended spear. We have the closed spear. And then we have a batch of trophies or skulls that will hang on his necklace, which I guess you could count as an accessory, but it's going to be pretty much there too unless you pop the head off. So it's got a nice spread. I like the accessories for this guy. And as I mentioned, the necklace here is technically, it's on the figure permanently unless you pop the head off, but it is a separate piece. Same thing is true of this. You could technically remove this inner necklace also if you want to. It does look really nice, but if you wanted to, you could carefully take the head off and remove both of those things. That's totally up to you. Okay, other features include this guy right here, which opens up and is very nicely detailed, but doesn't have any illumination. I mean, there's no like painted light up parts on there. It's all just black, which is fine. I don't remember if it's supposed to be perpetually lit up. It might only be once he turns it on to use it. I don't remember, to be honest, but it's still nice that it's included there. Another thing worth noting is the hands on these figures are all interchangeable also, and most of the time it works just fine, but I have had one of them crack, not on this guy, on a different figure, but I had one of them crack. So you may want to warm them up a little bit with some warm water or a hairdryer or something, but even the one that did crack, it wasn't really a problem. Just something to be aware of. Now, as I was mentioning, the sculpt on these guys is fantastic, and since you may not have seen one of my previous reviews on these guys, I'll run through it really quick. Everything you see is sculpted. It's all textured, and then that mesh is all sculpted, and it's all painted very, very nicely. Obviously, it's not perfect. You can see over here there's some black missing, but by and large, the paint job on these guys, it's just fantastic. It's phenomenal for the price point especially. Very, very nicely executed. And as you can see, everything is sculpted. There's nothing left untouched. I particularly like the dreads on these guys because they're all individually sculpted and painted. And for the most part, it's really well done. You really just can't beat it. I'll also note while I'm back here, he does have a little clip to hold his spears if you want to do that. Alright, so now as far as the articulation goes, the head is on a ball peg, and it'll move around really well. You can see the dreads are very flexible, so you don't really have to worry about it. You can move the head pretty much however you want. This guy, for some reason, his works even a little bit better than most, so you can really move him around nicely. You shouldn't have any trouble. Unfortunately, the shoulder pad is connected to the torso armor, but it's soft enough and it's sculpted such that even when you raise the arm, it's not terrible. It doesn't go crazy, but as you can see, it does lift it up some. I would prefer that it was connected to the bicep or to the shoulder so that it moved with the arm, but it's not a total deal breaker. It's just something to be aware of. The shoulder is a normal ball hinge, so you can rotate the arm all the way around. Just be aware of that shoulder pad. You have your bicep swivel, and you can raise the arm. It is stiff, you have to be careful, but you can raise the arm almost completely horizontally, so it's pretty good. Just be very careful. Don't grab it down here and crank up on it. You don't want to do that. You want to do it as far as you can up toward the torso. You do have your double jointed elbow, which gives him really nice range. Considering how bulky they are, they're very well articulated. He has a wrist swivel back here for the gauntlet, so you can rotate that around, and then of course the wrists are on ball pegs, so those can be rotated. I'm not sure if it's a single or a double. I'm assuming it's a double for the torso, but it doesn't really afford much. You can kind of just shift it around a little bit, but note that it's connected all the way through back here, so that's going to really impede the torso articulation. On these guys, I kind of just write off the torso for the ones that have that armor, so you may have to do the same thing. It's there, even down here, technically we have a little bit of a ball peg, but you're just going to basically just get some twisting out of it, which, I mean, it would be nice to have more, but I think it's enough, given that we're already getting this incredible figure for the price point, which is basically the same as Marvel Legends. You really can't beat it. And just be aware that it's flexible, but it's going to impede the articulation quite a bit. For the legs, we have our standard T-jointed ball hinge hips, and all of this stuff is soft, so it really won't get in the way too much. You can bring the leg basically all the way out, which is pretty good, and then you can bring it all the way out this way also. Really nice range. Now, some of the Predators get a little bit loose, and that is in this range right here going forward. It's not ridiculously loose, but it's not great. They do get loose, so hopefully NECA can eventually work that out of the process, but for me, it's nowhere near big enough of an issue given what else we're getting. And you do have a perfectly functional thigh swivel also. You have a double jointed knee, which gives him really good range, full range, all the range you could ask for, and technically it'll rotate up here, so if you need to, you can do that, though I don't really see a purpose. And down here, I do believe they're glued in place. It seems like they would want to rotate, but the shin armor seems to be glued, so don't expect a swivel down here. And then lastly, we have a ball peg for the ankle, which definitely, it's not the best having a ball peg down there, but it's enough to where you'll be able to get him into a stance. He's not going to be crouching or anything like that, but you should be able to pose him more than well enough. And given, like I said, and a couple of the other smaller issues, given how awesome the figure is otherwise, you really can't complain too much. These guys are just incredible for the money. You can't beat them. So that's my verdict. I absolutely love these figures, and this is one of my favorite. So obviously I'm going to recommend it. It's a little harder to come by these days, but if you can track one down, I definitely recommend you do so. It's really a great figure. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have new videos up every single day. We talk about TV shows, movies, video games, obviously action figures, all kinds of fun stuff. And if you want to see that stuff, if you want YouTube to tell you I have a new video up, you have to turn on the notification. So click that little bell. Make sure you turn those on. Make sure you subscribe. And in the meantime, keep collecting.